Welcome to First Edition. Good morning.
Thank you so much.
So you're a spokesperson, you're in the media. There's a cluster of Israeli settlements located in the Judean mountains directly south of Jerusalem and Bethlehem in the West Bank. Tell us all about that and how that relates to everything that's going on.
Yeah, I'm the spokesperson for Gush Etzion, which is just south of Jerusalem in the hills of Judea. This is the ancestral homeland. This was the original Israel. It's been our homeland for 3,000, 4,000 years. And right now, Israel is waging a war on two fronts. First, down in the south with Hamas, of course, in Gaza, and at the same time against Hezbollah in the north. From Lebanon. And just a few minutes ago, Hezbollah launched an anti-tank rocket at an Israeli position in northern Israel, and that's going on a daily basis. And of course, Israel must finish Hamas, destroy Hamas, and rescue our hostages in Gaza right now. So that's the situation on the ground, and hopefully Israel will take care of business despite the international pressure against the state of Israel, and particularly from the Biden administration, which is encouraging Israel not to go into Rafah full force, which is the last stronghold of Hamas. The last 4 battalions of Hamas are located down in Rafah. So we must go forward full steam and deal with this evil, not just for the state of Israel, but for the entire Western world.
What impact do you see Raisi's death having on Israel-Hamas war and the hostages still being held captive since the October 7th ambush attack?
Well, people have to understand the reality is the president of Iran is essentially a puppet. He has to do what the Ayatollahs tell him to do. So they'll just put up another puppet figure there. Remember, we're talking about the butcher of Tehran. And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of organizations and governments in the Western world who are sending their condolences to Iran. If you don't want to celebrate his death, fine, but to send condolences to a mass murderer is completely unacceptable. So Iran will just put another figurehead there. The Ayatollahs are still calling their shots. And of course, Iran is the head of the snake of terrorism, the head of the octopus, if you will, with tentacles all over the Middle East and all over the world, whether it's Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis in Yemen. They are the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. So the president was killed in a helicopter crash. And of course, you actually do have some people with conspiracy theories blaming Israel. Israel's absolutely denied it had anything to do with that incident. They'll put up another president as they see fit, and they'll keep going on from there, spewing hatred of Israel, hatred of the West. They call Israel the little Satan, and they call America the great Satan. That's who Iran is, and people have to recognize them for who they actually are.
I agree with you, Josh. I think that this will only delay them slightly in their sponsoring of terrorism, but I do think that it might play out to Israel's advantage to even get this small reprieve, as to your point, as they move forward to wipe out Hamas, deal with Hezbollah in the north, at a time in which the Iranian government and structure has to hold on to power. Because we do know within Iran there was some civil unrest, and we also know that, while other nations may have expressed their sympathy, however, they also don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. So that also slows them down a tad bit. What say you?
Yeah, we just heard reports several days ago that the Iranians are moving full steam ahead with their nuclear program. And of course, that is the biggest threat to Israel and the Western world. Completely unacceptable. And unfortunately, this administration in Washington has given Iran a hall pass, while the previous administration put extreme pressure on Iran. People have to understand this is the Middle East here. This is not the U.S.-Canadian border. And only the strong survive. Any sign of weakness, any cowering towards the leadership there in Iran will only encourage them to keep going further and further towards the aim, which is their goal of pursuing nuclear weapons. They are the biggest threat to humanity, and the Iranians must be stopped. Maybe it'll take a few days longer now, a few weeks longer. Maybe it'll be on hold for just a little short time period. It remains to be seen, but that is their ultimate goal, to achieve an atomic weapon, to destroy the Jewish state of Israel, and eventually destroy the United States. That is their goal. People have to realize that.
Well, given Iran's goal, yesterday, the State Department released a statement saying that they sent their condolences to Iran, and based on what happened with the president and foreign leaders. I mean, what do you make of this? When I saw this coming out of the State Department, I initially thought it was almost something like a joke, because this man, as you mentioned, former president, was called the Butcher of Tehran. He killed thousands of people, specifically also targeting women. So it's just so incredibly shocking. But what was your reaction?
So yeah, absolutely. It's 100% preposterous that any nation or any organization or NGO or UN branch is sending the Iranian regime their condolences. Now, what I did see, though, I saw celebrations coming out of Iran from some of the Iranian people who are willing to actually risk their lives by launching fireworks and celebrating. I do believe the Iranian people have had enough of this brutal, evil regime in Tehran, and they were not sad about the passing of their president. And if they weren't sad, if they weren't upset by it, why should the Western world there that step in and send condolences? Would anybody send condolences to the family of Adolf Hitler? And, you know, and I don't make that comparison lightly as the son of Holocaust survivors myself, but that is who the Iranian regime is. That is who Hamas is. They are today's version of the Nazis, ISIS, and it's completely despicable. The head of the body that's supposed to be investigating Iran, the International Atomic Energy Committee, they actually send their condolences. So if these are the people who are in charge of preventing Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons, then we're in real trouble here.
We are.
You know, the thing is that Israel has to wipe out Hamas. Like, there's no discussion regarding that. That is the
Absolutely.
goal. But my question to you this morning, Josh, is what will the government, the Palestinian government, look like after Hamas is wiped out? Like, what's the path forward after that to make sure that October 7th or anything like it never, ever happens again?
Yeah, that's a good question. And our Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it clear that Gaza, as he calls Hamastan, cannot become Fatahstan, meaning the Palestinian Authority, which is in control in Ramallah, in Judea and Samaria, they are just as bad as Hamas. They have different strategies. Hamas carried out the October 7th massacre. They're trying to wipe Israel out in one shot. The Palestinian Authority has been playing this game since the early 90s, signing peace deals or whatnot, but they've revealed over the years their true colors, and their true colors are they want to destroy Israel in stages. Any slice of area that is turned over to the Palestinian Authority becomes a launching pad for terror. You look at Gaza. Israel pulled out of Gaza, unfortunately, in 2005. Hamas immediately took over, and then we had an increase in rockets from Gaza by 500%, almost immediately. So whatever happens the day after, and I don't like to discuss it because we're still fighting a war, we still have troops in Gaza, whatever happens, it cannot be any sort of mixture of Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. If you ask me, Israel will have to maintain a military presence in Gaza for many years to come. Eventually, I think Israel will have to undo what was done in 2005, ripping out all of our citizens and our soldiers from that area. Eventually, Hamas took over. The same thing cannot happen in Judea and Samaria, the highlands, overlooking Israel's central population centers over the greater Tel Aviv area, where 75% of the population is. We cannot have Hamas or any other terror groups in those highlands. So Israel will have to make a decision, decide what is best for our security the day after victory, a total victory over Hamas.
Well, we do know that King David was mighty in battle, and may his spirit be with the IDF. Josh, thank you for joining First Edition.
Thank you so much.